Coming up on Mountain News this morning, an Eastern Kentucky settlement school continues on the road to recovery while dealing with the damage floodwaters left behind. And while cases of COVID-19 begin to dip in other areas of Kentucky, numbers are still up in parts of the mountains.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning to you. Almost 6 o'clock here on this Tuesday morning. Let me tell you, it is certainly feeling like a Monday. This is the Mondayest Tuesday ever. Let's head over to Letcher County with Brandon. And Brandon, look at you. You're still bright as can be. Goodness gracious.
I know, but listen, it's a little bit more evened out this time around, and you can hear me this time around. So
that's what we'll
that's
take.
Good news. Exactly. So listen, it's Monday 2.0 for sure, and you know I've had to do a lot of things over this way, so I can sympathize with you. But this morning, one of the big things that we're tracking is some fog. I'll step out of the way here a little bit so you can see that a little bit better. That's over Pikeville, US 119, US 23 intersection near Pikeville Commons. And a lot of traffic this morning, and a little bit cool over that way. One of our cooler spots at 44, but not as cold as Clintwood at 32, 38 Harlan, Middlesboro 39, London, Somerset. 49 though, stubborn up there in Jackson. They don't want to drop any. 46 in Moorhead, 38 Harlan and Middlesboro. Still warmer though than yesterday. Almost 10 degrees warmer in Williamsburg and Wise. Moorhead and Jackson up there too this morning. So again, a little bit warmer everywhere this morning. So grab a little extra coffee on your way out the door. And when you're grabbing some breakfast, grab a donut. The next dozen hours, you see, we're going to clear those donuts away as people start to eat them. A few more clouds at times during the day, but temperatures soar into the low 70s this afternoon. So a very mild day on tap for this time of the year. Dakota?
All right, Brandon, thank you. Well, it's been about 2.5 months since deadly flash flooding hit our area. Thanks to efforts from organizations like the Foundation for Appalachian Kentucky, families and businesses are getting a major helping hand. More than $5 million have been granted for recovery. Chad Hedrick has those details.
As waters rushed into homes and businesses in late July, it was evident that countless lives and Eastern Kentucky communities would be changed forever.
It quickly became obvious that we were losing lives, we were losing homes, we were losing cars, roads, bridges.
It has been boots on the ground and all hands on deck for the Foundation for Appalachian Kentucky ever since, helping thousands of families who were left in shock and heartache from the devastation.
This is the first time I have experienced anything of this magnitude here at home, both on the side of the devastation and on the side of the response.
The foundation says they've given more than $5.3 million in grants to families, nonprofits, and small businesses since early August. That includes contributing $1.2 million towards the Housing Can't Wait initiative to help build 16 houses in Letcher, Knott, Perry, and Breathitt counties.
We do still have people living in tents, and that is awful. It's cold. It was 34 degrees when I got up this morning. That's cold, and we need to figure out right now, what are we going to do to help people?
Another $2.1 million has gone to individuals and families, making up more than 21,000 people. And the foundation says there are others they haven't even reached yet.
We need to remember that there will still be people who just need some cash assistance, people who just still are going to need food, people who are still going to need temporary shelter. And we still, as communities and as a state, have to talk about that as well. So while we have helped tens of thousands of people, there are still thousands out there that are going to continue to need our help.
And that was Chad Hedrick reporting. The Team Eastern Kentucky Flood Relief Fund by the state has dispersed $3.7 million. This includes nearly $6,700 $500 checks to those approved by FEMA. Well, Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman stopped by Carr Creek Campground yesterday, meeting with people living in travel trailers after they lost their homes to floodwaters. She was joined by Knott County Judge Executive Jeff Dobson and Kentucky Emergency Management Director Jeremy Slinker. There are more than 20 families living at Carr Creek and around 100 across eastern Kentucky. Officials say it will likely be more than 1 year until they are all able to find permanent housing. And Hyman Settlement School has returned to routine classes and programs as it continues to recover from the flood. Our Chandler Wilcox tells us how the school is balancing flood relief and serving the community the way it has done for more than 1 century.
Even as the water sits at a low level between Highway 160 and Hyman Settlement School, Staff are still working through flood damage, trying to preserve what they can, however they can.
Clothesline and clothespins are pretty cheap, so we can get a lot of documents strung up in a day.
Office records dating back decades are hanging up at the school, some even forgotten from the past.
I was really amazed to find a picture. We have 200 acres up the hill here, and it used to be, there were no trees on it. It was almost like pasture land. It's just so surprising to see what the school looked like.
While they continue taking documents out of freezers to see what can be preserved, classes and programs are resuming, but not without the help of volunteers.
We wouldn't be able to do the regular work if we were hanging up, invoices and personnel files and those types of things. So our volunteers have been absolutely priceless.
Students learn about Appalachian culture at the school, as well as receive tutoring for reading and math. Staff also serve by consoling those affected by the flood.
Got 1 foot in regular normal and 1 foot in flood recovery new normal. So
dealing with the past while taking on the future. In Hyman, Chandler Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
Executive Director Will Anderson says school employees will host a community event once a month to help those recover from the flood. They're having a potluck dinner at the school on Thursday night. Dave Cowboy Graham is back in Hyman again to support flood survivors. He travels the country supporting people after disasters. Well, he was just in Florida after Hurricane Ian, and he decided to come back to Hyman to visit the community again. The retired vet says locals have been glad to see him return.
They brought me breakfast this morning, honks, people hanging out the window. The school bus went by and stopped, and all the kids had the little makeshift cowboy hats, and they all came to one side with the cowboy hat, so it's pretty funny, actually.
Cowboy says he will be traveling to Mayfield next, which was hit hard by a tornado in December, to speak to local business owners there. A critical shortage of veterinarians in rural areas are leaving fewer doctors trying to keep up with more demand. And for some, dealing with that has taken some creative thinking. Garrett Weimer shows us how some big changes are allowing one southeastern Kentucky veterinarian to keep bridging the great health divide for animals here in Appalachia.
It's kind of a long shot, but it is a shot.
From the start, the odds were stacked against this one.
This foot was contracted severely.
But now, her leg splinted and being cared for by Dr. David Fugit and his staff,
we're going to see if she can pull through.
She's showing signs of improvement.
She wants to fight, so we're going to fight with her.
It certainly has been a fight at West Liberty Veterinary Clinic.
West Liberty Vet Clinic, how can I help you?
When we first caught up with them last summer, they were understaffed.
What a good patient you are, house cat.
And overwhelmed.
We were at the end of a rope when we talked to you. We'd been run over. We'd literally been run over. And, when you get to that place, you kind of, I think everybody's been there before, but, you get to where I don't really know what else to do. I've done everything I can do. What do we do? So we prayed extra.
Since then, they've hired 2 more veterinarians and opened up a new addition.
We didn't know, but now we plan on it being okay. We made arrangements for it to be okay.
But Dr. Fugit also knows vet shortages remain a systemic problem in rural areas across the Commonwealth and country. 3 of the 6 shortage areas the state nominated last year, trying to bring in vets in exchange for helping repay student loans, had positions that went unfilled.
Veterinarians are there to treat the animal. They want the best for the animal, and it's a struggle when there's challenges of you just can't meet the need.
4 of the 5 shortage areas nominated for the current fiscal year are once again for food animal medicine in rural areas. They're all still listed as open. Last year, Dr. Fugit told me he was thinking outside the box to try to make working here more attractive. One example is what they did with this, a home on the property that once belonged to Dr. William Holbrook, the late founder of the clinic here.
When we get to Granddad, can he take us in his canoe?
The basement now serves as a benefit for his employees.
Want your juice?
A daycare for a few of the staff members' children.
You don't want to leave your baby whenever you first come back to work. It's hard. They make sure we're taken care of as long as our babies are taken care of. And you couldn't ask for anything more.
Making it easier on Mom. An opportunity that's kept the door open to retaining valuable workers.
It's not that we did something for them. We just finally addressed a need.
Meanwhile, the need for vets isn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
Dr. Fugit says he hopes other places might consider what they did here. It's allowed them to have more hands to help against all odds.
This is why we're here. This is why we're here.
Yet another reminder.
Sometimes it's about taking long shots. Sometimes it's about taking long shots.
That there's always more to learn from our four-legged friends.
You gonna get better, ain't you?
In West Liberty.
I think you will.
Garrett Weimer.
I think you will.
WKYT.
You got plenty of fight left in you.
Well, Dr. Fugit says his clinic recently took care of animals with injuries and infections from the flooding here in eastern Kentucky. He says some of those animals' owners didn't have a home to go back to when they left the clinic. He says it was hard to see, but it also puts things in perspective. COVID-19 cases are up in parts of our region. Meanwhile, other areas of the state where there were numerous infections last year are now in the green. Rockcastle County was even in the top 10 of infections a year ago, but as of Monday, did not have a single patient being treated for COVID-19. Health leaders say people are welcoming the new booster that wards off infections caused by the variants.
We've found quite a bit of interest in our communities in this bivalent vaccine, so it does protect against the older strains of COVID-19 for which the original vaccine was developed, as well as for the BA4 and BA5 of the Omicron variant.
Health leaders say across the Cumberland Valley District area of Rockcastle, Clay, and Jackson counties, they are seeing less than 10 hospitalizations for COVID-19.
.610 here on this Tuesday morning. We are tracking a little bit of dense fog, but again, some of these sensors up on the airports, which are in the higher elevations, and that means it's not showing up there. All this fog is in the valleys, like Middlesboro. I know that airport's down in the crater there this morning. 0 visibility. Harlan up a little bit, but still a little bit of fog up that way, down to 3. So just, again, be aware of that as you head out the door. Temperatures across the region, 30s and 40s, 32 in Clintwood, but 46 just down the road in Wise, 49 in Jackson is the warm spot. Prestonsburg and Pikeville continue to fall, and a lot of 30s showing up out there right now, and they're at 43 in Prestonsburg and Pikeville at the moment. Day planner for today heading up to about 73. A southwest breeze will kick in. A mix of sun and clouds will carry us into the afternoon hours and into the nighttime hours as well, with the clouds under partly cloudy skies. Dakota?
All right, Brennan, thank you so much. When we come back, Caramount Mountain News this morning, a major escalation between Russia and Ukraine prompts an emergency meeting made up of world leaders. We'll have more on that story when we come back.